Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the two banners in version 1.1 for both of them, both Acheron, Luocha. What is the value, synergy and versatility of the 4-star cast that's involved? We're going to be talking about first half as well as the second half for every single character. Notice how I have 6 boxes here, 2 for the same one, is because it does matter a lot whether you're pulling for the Acheron or whether you're pulling, for example, for Luocha. The value you get out of these characters will vary significantly. You know we don't waste time with this channel, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's start off first with Acheron's banner and Acheron and Luocha's banner. You have 3 very nice characters, Pella, Gallagher as well as Danheng. Acheron is a character that wants to have like debuffs on the enemy so that she can get more stacks of her out quicker so that she can attack. Pella is great for this. You not only defense shred, you apply the debuffs. To some extent, Danheng also applies like speed down. So this on its own is a very pretty functional team for a Nihility character like Acheron already. In fact, I think it's like so good that I would rank this for Acheron's banner as an S tier banner for synergy. If you were a new player starting out and you wanted to slap all 4 of these characters into one team, you actually can, and I do think that it will work to some extent, especially since you have a single target damage dealer in Danheng, you have AoE in Acheron, you have a sustain with Gallagher, and a debuffer like Pella to help you proc and boost up your entire team all together too. Very, very nice. All of them different elements means you can tackle a good amount of content too. So that's the synergy for Acheron. In terms of value you get, unfortunately, Danheng win is not very good. I think that Gallagher is definitely a very interesting unit. Very good amounts of fire break damage that he does. So a defensive character that offers a lot of offensive side of things, which we currently don't have too many defensive characters that are like that. Danheng is the weakest out of all 3 of them. Pella is like super strong with Jingliu, with Acheron herself, and many other characters use a debuffer defense shredder like Pella. AoE character, super good. Danheng is not as good as the other characters on this list. So unfortunately he drags it down. I think the value is like A+ because of his appearance. I would much rather like another character. Let's say you had maybe another unit, for example, like Xue. Maybe even if you have like Qing Xue here, bringing her into the mix, would have been a much better banner. But I guess they didn't want to make it like too overpowered, too broken a banner. So it is what it is. For its versatility though, if you are pulling for Acheron, the first half on this like left hand side, I think it's a pretty good versatile banner. Pella can be played with a lot of DPSs. You can play Gallagher in both sides as well, depending on where you want that fire break. You might even choose to run maybe a preservation character using Trend of Universal Market with Acheron, but Gallagher is not totally useless. He's still a sustain. For a new player, you probably find it useful. For even an experienced player, you want a bit more damage, you can always put him in somewhere else. Danheng here, maybe the only one that's not as versatile because he likely will be much better ran with another single target damage dealer if you needed to, but still a pretty strong unit with speed down inbuilt in his overall kit. That is for the first section. The second section on Luocha is where it gets pretty interesting. In terms of value, and I'm going to go pretty quickly because it's quite straightforward once we've talked about like the 3-4 stars here and what they do. Value is the same. You are getting good amounts of value for the 3 stars. I will rate this like maybe slightly lower because if you already have Luocha, you probably don't need another sustain in Gallagher urgently. For that, I think the synergy between all 4 of these characters is like a very low B. You have 2 healers. If you were to slot them on the same team, you have 1 single target damage dealer in Danheng and Pella who's like AoE. Very atrocious single synergy if you were a new player just wanting to slot in. But if you were looking for maybe more sustain to add to your roster with a bit of cleansing here, a bit of fire break offensive kind of kit, you need more Pella, Constellations, Eidolons. I think it's a pretty good set still despite the weak in synergy. Versatility is probably the same as Acheron as well because the 4-star cast is decently versatile, at least the first 2 of them. That is for the first half. And for the second half banner, now let's talk about Aventurine as well as Jingliu. We have Lynx, who is a sustained character. We have Luca, single target DOT physical character, and Serval and AoE, lightning, and can apply shock, so it's like considered relatively, I guess also has some sort of DOT involved too, but it's more of an erudition AoE burst kind of unit with very low burst cooldowns. I'll go like horizontally here because I think people will be likely pulling for them equally as much given that Jingliu is very popular too. For value, in my opinion, like for Aventurine, the value is probably an A because he is a preservation character. Lynx is or also a sustain character, and it's matter of fact is like what the 4 stars add value for. Lynx is free, her Eidolons are not necessary, but it's nice to have. Luca is nowadays very not super popular nowadays because physical single target break, not very popular. You can much rather like run, for example, Kafka together with Black Swan if you wanted to play in your Nihility team. You'll put in like Sampo, you're putting Kuei Knife instead. So unfortunately, Luca not seeing too much love. Serval is a good AoE damage dealer, but it's also free, if you, I think from one of the earlier events. Not sure whether it's still around. Any of you new players, let me know whether you still get Serval for free. I think you do, right? But Jingliu, probably the same as well. I don't think the 4 stars here are super tremendous. Not as good as the first half 4 stars, at least because you don't get like supports. If they would put in like Tingyun, they will put in like Yukong, Hanya and stuff like that, I could see a lot more value, but unfortunately they didn't. They skipped like good 4 stars. Xue here also would have been really nice, but unfortunately they didn't do that. For synergy, I will rate Aventurine's banner as an A. Not super great. I didn't put it as a B, similar to how Luocha was, simply because Aventurine offers a lot more offensive potential. And if you want to like know the difference between like Jingliu versus Acheron and Aventurine versus Luocha, we have done videos on that on the channel. If you guys are curious, check it out. Just click on our recent videos, you can find it. For the synergy of these characters with Jingliu, I'll also rate it an A. Not the best combination. The one that works the best with Jingliu probably is going to be Lynx. Other than that, the other two are like not really synergetic with any of these. It's a very, very strange banner, very awkward 4-star cast. If you are going for this banner, chances are you just want to snipe the 5 stars. Hopefully you get it early. You don't really care too much about the eidolons of these 4-star characters either, maybe apart from Lynx, which is pretty nice to have. Versatility though, I think is an A+. Lynx can be played anywhere. More eidolons of her is very strong. If you have Aventurine on one side, Lynx on the other side, these two will likely carry your account for a while, especially if you don't have a character like Fucc, you don't have a character like Luocha, Huo. These are maybe the two that you are working with. Very, very strong. Lynx has cleanse in her also. Aventurine doesn't have cleanse, so there's some utility there. For Serval, good AoE damage dealer for any new player. You can fit her in most team compositions that you're just looking for like some lightning break. For maybe pure fiction, you don't have Kafka, you don't have lightning DPS like Jingyuan. Serval is a very, very good alternative tool. That's for Aventurine side. As for Jingliu, same thing. I think versatility is also really, really strong for these 4 stars. You can put them in a lot of comps, but whether you will use them is a whole different question, because you do get some DOT access for Serval, some DOT access with Luca, some single target with Luca, some AoE with Serval. So a very, very good mix of characters here that helps you build your team, especially if you're a new player trying to go in. Definitely one thing to say, now that you've seen all the things, I want to say there's a very good combination of characters that Hoiverse has introduced for new players starting out in Panacony, because of course it does require a bit of luck to get every single one and as many as you can. But think about it, if you are able to get one DPS here, or Luocha, and then you pick up the other, whichever it is, you basically have a very solid defensive unit, very solid offensive unit, or you could even have 2 very solid offensive unit, 2 very solid defensive units for your roster going in. And these 4 stars are not the worst. They're not like top tier other than maybe like Pella, but it's still going to help your account a lot for the months and moments to come, probably the whole entire patch 2 point something. And if you found this video helpful, you might be interested in our light cone banner review that's upcoming as well, because that's a huge part, especially if you're pulling for DPSs. Light cones are always very interesting. This one here, right here on the screen, very attractive. But stay tuned, like and subscribe to get notified, and see you in the next video.